Hello, everyone. We're glad you're with us at noon today. I'm Karen Fuller. A lot of us are disappointed after the news that no one hit the Powerball jackpot last night, but one Arkansan did wake up a winner. We'll share just how much they won in 10 minutes.
Neighborhoods near Little Rock Central High School are located in a historic district, but is this area of town at risk of losing that status? I'm Frederick Price with how community leaders are making sure that doesn't happen.
Netflix drops their new lower priced but ad-supported plans today. Ahead at noon, the new price point and some news that Netflix knows you won't like. Before we get to the news, though, let's get a look at your weather now with meteorologist Nathan Scott. Nathan?
Good afternoon, Karen. It's a beautiful November day around the region, although it's a little bit on the warm side. Lots of sun here in downtown Little Rock, more clouds off to the west, but no weather concerns today. Tomorrow evening, though, big changes will be arriving. We'll have the potential of a line of strong to severe thunderstorms rolling their way across the state. And here's the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. The orange area, that's a medium risk of severe weather, and that does include you folks in Mena. Most of central Arkansas under a low risk of severe weather, and then the rest of the state under a slim risk of severe weather. Out there right now, temperatures have warmed up very quickly into the mid-70s in Little Rock and Conway, but the clouds will be on the increase as the day progresses along. Nothing really showing up here on radar. There could be maybe a stray sprinkle, but look what's going to be happening tomorrow. This is tomorrow afternoon, and watch that line of storms develop into Oklahoma, and the timing of that line as it makes its way into West Arkansas and Central Arkansas, still a little bit up in the air. Looks like certainly Friday evening we'll be watching a line of storms that's going to pack quite a punch, rolling its way through the state, affecting some high school football games. I'll have more on the timing, show you a different model forecast, and talk about the main concerns with this system coming up.
THV 11 is counting down to Election Day as early voting across Arkansas continues. Less than a week from the midterm elections, we're getting a better idea of where voters stand on several issues and races. One of the biggest takeaways from a new University of Arkansas poll is the drop in support for Issue 4. That's the question on whether to legalize recreational marijuana here. The poll shows a drastic dip in the number of people in favor of legalizing recreational cannabis. As of now, some 60% of Arkansans polled oppose the idea. Prior polls also showed Issue 4 losing steam the closer we get to Election Day. We're also seeing what voters think about Issue 2, which, if passed, would make it harder for ballot measures such as Issue 4 to pass in Arkansas. Tonight on THV 11 at 5 and 6, we bring you an in-depth look at Issues 2 and 4 and how each could impact the other. According to the poll, Arkansans are also very much concerned about the economy and abortion. You can get a full breakdown right now at THV11.com. In fact, THV 11 has a comprehensive election guide that's free and explains what you'll find when you cast your ballot, including what it means when you vote for or against the 4 issues. You can find a copy on our website, THV11.com. On the national scene, some heavy hitters from both parties are now crisscrossing the country on the campaign trail. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
President Biden is warning democracy is on the ballot next Tuesday.
The disturbing rise of voter intimidation, the pernicious tendency to excuse political violence, or at least trying to explain it away. We can't allow this sentiment to grow. We must confront it head on now.
I'm fired up!
Former President Obama had a similar message in Arizona while stumping for Democrats, including Secretary of State Katie Hobbs. She's in a tight race with Republican Kari Lake for governor.
I don't think anybody, Elvis could come back to life and campaign for Katie Hobbs and it wouldn't help her.
As candidates make their closing arguments, polling shows Republicans are poised to pick up a majority of seats in the U.S. House, and the Senate is still a toss-up with the economy and inflation top concerns for voters.
The last 2 years have been a disaster in so many ways, and we know that.
One of the most closely watched Senate races remains the one in Pennsylvania, where both Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz are trying to shore up support from their bases and undecided voters.
Stop the partisan bickering and deal with the problems that you guys have been telling me about for the last year plus.
Sometimes I might
miss some words or get them all right, but if you send me to Washington, D.C., I'll always stand and do what's right in Washington, D.C.
President Biden will return to Pennsylvania this weekend to rally for Democrats after a West Coast swing that starts today in New Mexico and California. Former President Trump is also kicking off a series of rallies starting in Iowa tonight, the first of 4 appearances in 5 days. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Former President Trump is also scheduled to campaign for Republicans in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Both President Biden and former President Obama are also set to be in that critical battleground state as well. If Democrats lose ground in Congress, they may learn something from the political shift in Florida. That's the state's Latino voters who have moved firmly to the right. A recent poll shows Democrats holding a 27-point advantage with Hispanic voters nationally, but it's a sharp drop from 40 points back in 2018. The Rio Grande Valley is seeing the impact of the Latino voting shift. During a June special election, Texas Republican Mayra Flores flipped a House seat in a heavily Hispanic district. Now to a THV 11 update on a story we first brought you yesterday. We're getting new reactions after digging deeper into a heated Little Rock City board meeting this week. It's all about a mysterious contract that the directors had never heard of until a resident requested a copy of it. But that request went unanswered. Our Ashley Godwin looks into this controversial contract.
And the final question, which truly baffled me, why was War Memorial one of the 3 sites being considered for housing?
The mayor of Little Rock is under heat after Director Cappy Peck brought an issue to the board, a Freedom of Information request that went unanswered. And when Director Peck requested the document, she was told the mayor refused to hand over the public record.
I've not instructed Director Collins nor City Manager Moore not to produce or release anything.
The controversy surrounds a consultant contract that proposed building affordable housing in 3 areas of Little Rock, including at War Memorial Park. The contract cost $49,000, that price tag just under the $50,000 mark that would need the board's approval. The bid winner, a company called A Squared, founded by Gerald and Sam Alley, who have both donated to Frank Scott Jr.'s election campaigns in 2018 and 2022. We reached out to Little Rock's Planning and Development Director Jamie Collins about what's the next step for the contract. He was out of the office.
What happens now that you have the contract, you're able to see it? Like, can the board have any say in it?
No. Vice Mayor Lance Hines hopes there will be changes in the future to allow the board to know what contracts the city is paying for, no matter what the cost.
I think the board needs to be notified of every RFQ that goes out. Now, it might be, at least we'll be aware of it.
For Wake Up Central, I'm Ashley Godwin.
We are still working, by the way, to learn whether Little Rock City Attorney responded to an angry letter from prosecuting attorney Larry Jegley. Jegley expressed frustration with the city's handling of these public record requests and has asked several questions. We're still waiting for a response from the city on those answers. We're also working to learn more about Little Rock's latest homicide, which marks a new record for homicides in a single year, breaking a record that dates back to 1993. Little Rock police responded to a Maple Vale neighborhood on a suspicious death that investigators later determined is a homicide, the 71st of 2022. Police are not releasing many details. We do know the victim was 23 years old. The state health department is now reporting high levels of flu activity, which we don't typically see until more like January or February. The blue line you see here is positive tests for type A influenza. It went from just a few hundred cases a week to several thousand, and these are mainly in children. Remember, you can get a free flu shot at your county health unit. Believe it or not, you still have another chance to win the Powerball. No one matched all the numbers in last night's drawing. However, one ticket sold in Arkansas is worth $2 million. Powerball says one ticket matched all 5 of the white balls and has the multiplier. The top prize continues to climb through billion-dollar territory. It's estimated to be around $1.5 billion for the next drawing on Saturday. If no one wins that one, it will tie for the longest run without a grand prize winner. A Little Rock neighborhood could be losing its historic status. Coming up in 2 minutes, Frederick Price will share the push to save it.
And we are going into fall severe weather season, especially for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. I'll have more on the main concerns of what we could see here in Central Arkansas and how your weekend is looking coming up.